You'll remember the San Juan protest started when there was a massive leak of offensive, derogatory chats between the governor of Puerto Rico and some of his aides. And with me this morning is Jessie Fuentes, who's the co-chair of the Puerto Rican Agenda. And Jessie, I want to start by asking you, why should the country care about this protest?
Good morning, Diana. Thank you for having me. The country should care because the people in the diaspora have representation for the people of Puerto Rico in electoral politics that they do not have, right? So when we're talking about creating real change in Puerto Rico, it's going to be the voices of folks that are on the state side to get in the ears of electoral politicians to be able to make change in Congress. For example, we are working on trying to get a bill on the Congress floor to get the debt audited, right? People in Puerto Rico do not have that power in electoral politics. We do, and that's extremely important.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just learned this morning, it was actually breaking news, that Rossello is set to resign today. So, the cries are being heard. The protests, seem to be working. Do we trust this? Do we know who's going to take his place?
We don't, right? According to the Constitution, the Secretary of State is supposed to assume that position. Right now, that seat is empty, right? And so I'm sure that the governor's office has to strategize around who's taking the seat. I'm sure that that is a strategy that's being discussed now. I do trust that Rossello will be resigning today. People in Puerto Rico, people who come out of that office have been saying it's something that he agreed to yesterday and that he's supposed to make some formal announcement today at noon, right? And so we'll be looking forward to it.
And last question I have for you here for this part, for those that are watching and that they want to participate or they want to become more involved or help out, how can they do that here at home?
Yeah, well, the first thing is if they're in Chicago, they can join the Puerto Rican Agenda, right? We have meetings every first Saturday of the month. We're a non-incorporated organization that is really trying to make change in Puerto Rico. The second thing is to become educated, right? I think that the people in Puerto Rico are speaking to their needs, right? It's not only Rossello. Rossello is the straw that broke the camel's back. People are in debt. Puerto Rico is in debt, right? And the Fiscal Control Board is determining the future of Puerto Rico. Puerto Ricans on the state side should educate themselves, right? And more importantly, build relationship with their elected officials to make demands, because elected officials have power to truly make change in Puerto Rico.
What is so significant about that date?
Yeah, well, September 18th is going to mark the second anniversary of Hurricane Maria. And the reason we choose to do the Day of Action that day in D.C., because it's also a way to be able to remember the people who have passed, right? We don't want to forget the 4,645 people who have passed away due to Hurricane Maria. It's a way to pay tribute to them and a way to also say that the work in Puerto Rico is not done.
And so this Day of Action, you have many issues that you're bringing to the table, but probably one of the biggest ones is that audit of debt. Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, right now there have been austerity measures taken on the people of Puerto Rico, right? We know pensions have been stripped, minimum wage has gone down, schools have been closed, and this is all in justification of paying the debt, right? The $70 billion debt. Well, we want to know what's in the debt, and should be the working class of Puerto Rico, should they be paying for it, right? And we don't know that right now. No one has told us how that debt was produced, and it's extremely important for the people of Puerto Rico to know what they're paying into.
And so the organization, the Puerto Rican Agenda, what have you guys done in terms of preparation for this day? Because we were talking and we were like, you can't just show up and be like, Congress, this is what's going on.
No. So the idea is that we have to start building relationships and talking to congressional representatives now, right? They have to understand what are the demands of the Puerto Rican people, right? And so we need to get congressional folks to be willing to propose a bill on the Congress floor, right? And so we've been having conversations with Chuy Garcia. We're trying to have conversations with other Latino representatives so that they can collaborate and present this bill collectively together. And so we're building up to that moment, right? We're definitely building up to September 18th.
And back to Rossello, we had just talked a little bit ago off camera on who is going to take his position. You just got word that we now know who that person is.
Yeah, so from what is being published in El Nuevo Dia, it's going to be Secretary of Justice Wanda Vazquez.
And, I guess it's just incredible to see this all come together and all come to this outcome. How do you feel?
Well, I feel proud. I feel proud of the Puerto Rican people. I feel proud of the almost 1 million individuals who chose to protest for 11 days, who chose to take rubber bullets, who chose to take tear gas cans thrown at them. They were extremely resistant, and they showed the resiliency of the Puerto Rican people, right? And we have been resilient for decades, and this is one of the showcases that Puerto Ricans can get what they want when they work together.
Absolutely. Jessie, thank you so much for joining us again. It's been a pleasure. Guys, we're definitely not done talking about this story. We'll continue reporting on it as September 18th approaches. For now, though, I'm live in Humboldt Park. Diana Gutierrez, The Jam.